Yeah, I think art is something that can't be. There's no tangible like way to measure it,
Yeah.
right? It's not like you can measure people that like take English courses and become English, like whether they're writers or teachers or all the different
Yeah.
things that come from being in English, or with mathematics, all the different fields that you can get into through mathematics, computer programming. Like you can measure those things.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to measure art.
Yeah.
And art's one of those things that's like almost artists are kind of in the same category as like athletes,
Yeah.
where it's like you were saying, you had teachers that told you, oh, okay, what do you want to be? And you said a musician, and they were like, oh, that's cool, but you need to have a real job or a real plan.
And do you know the funny thing about that is though, it's such a small minded thing for people when they say, I want to be a musician, and they're like, oh, that's nice, good dream. Because the reality is, for me as a singer, it's one of the highest paying jobs. I might not be a Billboard singer yet, and that might be the main goal, is to have my music globally recognized. But in respect of gigs, like there's weddings, there's pubs, there's venues, there's corporate, there's international things that I do for like impersonation. There is so much work for musicians, and it is like some in Australia, I wouldn't take less than $100 an hour for a gig. And like some gigs were paying $300 an hour.
And you performed quite a bit over there in Australia, right?
Yeah, I performed heaps in Australia, but it's funny that people don't encourage it or don't be a musician, because it's like, it's actually quite a very high paying job. There's so much opportunity. There's cruise lines, hotels, like theaters, cruise ships, like weddings, corporate, like there's so much work, and it's something you can do forever. I can sing until my lungs give out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas people are like, it's not smart to be a musician. It's like, why? It's a good paying job. It's a fantastic job, and you don't feel like you're working. It's sad that people don't encourage it.
There's something that has happened where people don't like putting themselves out on a limb, right? Yeah. And you're told your whole life that you go to school for this amount of time, then you go to another school for this much time. Then afterwards, you find a job and you do this, and you buy a house, and you get engaged, and then you get married, and then you have a kid, and you buy a car, and you do this and you do that, and everything's like there's like this neat little box package that everyone gets told that they kind of got to live in, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, that's safe, because it's like it's told that it's promised to them, right? Those things are promised, which people are starting to find out that all of that safe stuff in between the lines is not promised.
Exactly.
Especially with this quarantine and like, the economy in the world, and that's in the state that it's in right now. Like, it's just like, there's kind of like this chaos, and people are starting to realize for the first time that like nothing's guaranteed.
Nothing's guaranteed. Yeah. 100%.
And it's like, if I'm going to live in this world, this crazy world, it's like, I'm at least going to live by my own code, or I'm going to do something that I love to do, no matter how far-fetched, how it's like preposterous or improbable it could be.
Exactly. And look at the irony of people judging artists, saying it's not a real career, it's not something to focus on. Look what everyone has turned to during this quarantine. You're sitting at home watching movies, which are actors. You're listening to musicians. You're listening to podcasts. You are literally getting through this quarantine because of the creative minds that people are telling not to express themselves. It's like so ironic. It's like when everything falls apart and we realize that, like money doesn't matter right now, like social status doesn't matter, like going out partying doesn't matter, but what gets us through as human beings is that creative outlet and listening and appreciating the arts. So it's like, more than anything, I feel more justified in my profession. Yeah. So it's like, it's ironic. And maybe this is like going to be enlightening for some people to actually like open their minds up. But unfortunately, I don't think the world works that way.